Yeah, we can start with the Mangalacharan. I can do the Mangalacharan. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripi Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the class today. We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 40, which chapter 5 is talking about Vidura talks to Maitreya, and we are on the text 40. Will anybody volunteer to redo the script today? Hare Krishna. Okay, so I will do the Sanskrit and the word-to-word translation. Dataryadasmin bhava isa jiva tapatrayena bihata na sarma atman labante bhagavan tavangri chayam savidyamata ashrayema. Word-to-word translation. Data, O Father. Yat, because. Asmin, in this. Bhave, material world. Isa, O Lord. Jivaha, the living entities. Tapa, miseries. Trayena, by the three. Abitaha, always embarrassed. Na, never. Sarma, in happiness. Atman, self. Labante, do gain. Bhagavan, O personality of Godhead. Tava, you are. Angri Chayam, shade of your feet. Savidyam, full of knowledge. Ataha, obtain. Ashrayema, shelter. Hare Krishna. Will anybody do the translation and the purport? Hare Krishna. Kritika Mataji, are you able to do the translation and the purport? Hare Krishna. Gayatri Devalapurkar Mataji, are you able to do the translation and the purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Gayatri Mataji, kindly go ahead. Sorry,
Okay,
I couldn't
Mataji.
unmute.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Mataji. 3540, right? Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Translations and purports by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. O Father, O Lord, O Personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. Purport. The way of devotional service is neither sentimental nor mundane. It is the path of reality by which the living entity can attain the transcendental happiness of being freed from the three kinds of material miseries. Miseries arising from the body and mind, from other living entities, and from natural disturbances. Everyone who is conditioned by material existence, whether he be a man or beast or demigod or bird, must suffer from adhyatmika, bodily or mental pains, adi bhautika, pains, those offered by living creatures, and adi daivika, pains, those Adidaivika pains, those who, due to supernatural disturbances. His happiness is nothing but a hard struggle to get free from the miseries of conditional life. But there is only one way he can be rescued, and that is by accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries is undoubtedly true. But because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendental knowledge, acceptance of his lotus feet completes that necessity. We have already discussed this point in the first canto 1.2.7. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगप्रयोजितः जनन्यते जनन्यत्यासु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च यद् अहैतुकम्. There is no want of knowledge in devotional service of Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. He, the Lord, personally takes charge of dissipating the darkness of ignorance from the heart of a devotee. He confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Empiric philosophical speculation cannot give one relief from the threefold miseries of material existence. Simply to for simply to endeavor for knowledge without devoting oneself to the Lord is a waste of valuable time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for reading the translation and the passage. I will humbly request Grace Rasa Sundari Mataji to take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, a little louder, please. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Now, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah.
Okay. So, I'll start first by reciting some prayers for glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam to create a spaciousness in our today's session. Sarva Sastra Bhutisha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaita Bhuttara, Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu, Kali Dvanta Dikaditya, Shri Krishna Parivartita, Paramananda Pataya, Premavashyaksharaaya Te, Sarvada Sarvasuyaya, Shri Krishnaya Namaste. Madeka Bandhu Matsangi, Madhuro Manmahadana, Manishtara Kamadaya, Madananda Namasite, Asali Sadhukarayu, Natini Kuchakakara, Anamun Chakarajinam, Vinari Kantayo Shuram, Mukam Kariti Vacharam, Pangum Nangayate Virim, Kripa Samahangandi, Shiguru Dinatarinam, Anandayamaya Vigrahaya, Hema Padivachavi Sundaraya, Tasmai Mahaprima Vasakaraya, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarini Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to first of all offer my respectful obeisances unto my extremely merciful spiritual master and unto his spiritual master and unto Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and pray that I can be a useful instrument in their service. I would also like to offer my respectful obeisances unto all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis in today's Bhagavatam, online Bhagavatam Sangha, and seek your blessings that I can speak something of value for our progress in Krishna consciousness, as well as for my own purification. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from text 40 of chapter 5, Vidura spoke with Maitreya, the status quo, which is Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vidura Maitreya is explaining about the prayers of the demigods. And the demigods pray, O Father, O Lord, O personality of Godhead. The living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. Hare Krishna. So, we are hearing the prayers of the demigods to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why are the demigods praying? From the previous classes, we have been hearing very technical subject matters of creation at the level of Shirodakshari Vishnu. We did say that creation happens in different intervals, and I'm sure you have heard other Vaishnavas explain it to you in a more descriptive and descriptive form, and maybe in also a very nicely elaborately put presentation of how creation happens. I remember on our class on Monday, we shared some very crude notes that had been roughly prepared to help us understand how the senses were developed. And now, going forward, Maitreya Muni will explain how, along with the creation of the senses, there are demigods in charge of each sense. Like there is the sense of smell, the sense of, the sense of taste, form, the sense of touch, and the sense of sound. And from them, there are material manifestations. We dealt with this the previous time. And like we see on our own bodies, or on the bodies of all living entities that have a consciousness that creates, that have a higher consciousness other than just plants like the ants, the animals, and of course the two-legged animals, the human beings. These senses are where we gain knowledge from. Like the eye as a demigod in charge of it. But before these demigods could be put into those roles, they offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitreya Muni will describe all these demigods and how they are assigned, to which sense they are assigned. We will elaborate on all this in the coming verses, and therefore I'm not going to go into that today. So today I'm going to concentrate on this text of the prayers of the demigods. Prabhupada says there are two types of human beings. or of living entities, and that is the asuras and asuras. Demigods, meaning those who are pious, and demons, those who are impious. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, 15 and 16, describes them as Sukritis and Duskritis, those who approach the Supreme Lord and those who will never approach the Supreme Lord. So we see the demigods approaching the Supreme Lord, and here they describe very profound subject matter of the situation of the living entities in the material world. And what is that situation? That the living entities can never have any happiness. 1 minute, excuse me. Sorry for that interruption. There was a knock on my door. So the demigods, they profoundly explain that the living entities in the material world, they cannot be happy. Here it says, Nasharma, they cannot attain any happiness. Why? Because they are overwhelmed by the three kleshas. They are overwhelmed by the three kinds of misery. It says that this material world is Ashashvatam and Dukkayayam. Ashashvatam, it is temporary. That's why it's being created. Anything that is created is going to be annihilated. And the material world is one of them. So it is temporary. And it is Dukkayayam, it is full of misery. And what are these miseries? There are three types of miseries. Adbhotika, Adaivika, Adhyatmika. So we will start with Adhyatmika miseries or Adhyatmika klesha. These are miseries that are caused by the body or by the mind of the living entities. Nowadays, it's a trend, or rather it's a sensation of people suffering from mental health, and they need to see a therapist, they need a psychologist, a psychiatrist. These are miseries coming from their own mind. And also bodily pains are included among Adhyatmika miseries, Adhyatmika klesha. And there is Adibhotika kleshas, miseries caused by other living entities. As simple as you'll be sleeping and a mosquito will come, give you malaria, not in your control. Or people will create mischief and misery in your life, other living entities. And then there is Adidaivika klesha. Misery is caused by supernatural powers, by demigods, such as an earthquake, tornado, rain, cold, like in Nairobi, it's very cold. So the demigods are in charge of the atmosphere and of natural happenings, and they can cause us miseries. So much heat, so much cold, even extreme floods. All these are miseries that we experience, and they are caused by forces that are beyond our control. So what is the solution? The demigods say that because of these three miseries, the living entities must take shelter of the shade of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that shade is full of knowledge, and it can give shelter to the living entities. In the previous text, in the previous text 39, the demigods were praying and taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is a theme we are going to be seeing going forward. Devotees taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why is that? How does this have to do with a mosquito biting me, or another person being a disturbance in my life, or my mental health disturbing me, or earthquakes? How does some fit of some personality have to do with that? So here it said that the shades of your lotus feet are full of knowledge. And Prabhupada in the purport is saying that the argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries is undoubtedly true. Rupa Goswami expounds in the Nectar of Devotion how the living entities suffer supremely because of ignorance. And of those of us who have Christian background, I'm sure you have heard of the phrase that from the Bible that Jesus saying, or is it one of his disciples saying, that my people perish for lack of knowledge. They suffer because they are ignorant. So ignorance is the main cause of suffering, the main cause of pressures, the main cause of miseries in the material world, all of them which are grouped into these three categories: Adhyatmika, Adhibotika, Adhidaivika. So how do we get this knowledge now? The demigods are saying we take shelter of the root of the shade of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Bhagavatam is not a theoretical, it's not just a theoretical book, or it does not just give theoretical instructions. So how can one really take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So this is done by taking shelter of those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or those who know, taking shelter of those devotees, that is, fully taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why it is said that the first limb of bhakti that Rupa Goswami gives in the Nectar of Devotion is taking shelter of a spiritual master who will guide you in the process of devotional service. And the process of devotional service is likened to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not something theoretical that, okay, we should take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, we should get a vigraha of Krishna or an amurti of Krishna. And every day we go and bow our heads or put our heads on Krishna's feet. Nothing wrong with doing that. But that alone will not help. You need to approach devotees or sadhus who have taken shelter of those lotus feet. And how we will do that? To serve them. And by serving them, by hearing from them, then you engage in devotional service. And the first characteristic of devotional service is Kleshagni. I'm speaking from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 2. Rupa Goswami first gives a definition of pure devotional service. And then he goes on to give characteristics of pure devotional service. And characteristic number 1 is Kleshagni, which if we divide into two is Klesha and Agni. Klesha means miseries. Here we are seeing Adhidaivika, Adhibotika, Adhyatmic Kleshas. And Agni means burns, meaning that the first characteristic of pure devotional service, or the first thing that happens when one begins engaging in pure devotional service, is that all their miseries are burnt into ashes. And he goes on to explain what is the cause of this suffering. And the main cause of suffering, just as Prabhupada is saying here, is lack of proper knowledge, ignorance. And you get ignorance by taking shelter of the lotus feet, and that is done literally by taking shelter of a guru or a spiritual master, hearing from him, serving him, and when he gives knowledge, when you gain knowledge of performing devotional service, and then all the klesha will burn. And that's why Prabhupada is quoting the first canto, chapter 2, page 7, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojika, Janayatyasu Vairagyam Jnanam Chaya Dahaitikam. The meaning is not given here, but this text, what it means is by performing devotional service unto Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga Prayojika, by engaging in devotional service unto Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, two things happen. Number one, Janayat Yasu Vairagyam. One gets renunciation. It gets detached from worldly pressures, from things that are not favorable to his practice in devotional service. And number two, Jnanam Chayada Haitukam. He gets causeless knowledge. So these are the two aspects or two effects of bhakti, two byproducts of devotional service: causeless knowledge and detachment. Detachment is the opposite of attachment. Attachment is one aspect that causes these three miseries of devotional service also. And why we get attached? Because we don't know that everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is a result of ignorance as well. So we get attached to our houses. We get attached to our identities. Identities that we have made up. We get attached to our families. We get attached to the money that we made, not with strength that we have, but strength that has been given from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We get attached to our education that cannot even help us get rid of these miseries, but rather brings more miseries in our life, but we are very proud of it. But when we understand that all these things are temporary, they are not going to help us. They are only making us more conditioned to the three modes of material nature and causing more pressures. Then we become detached. And that will only happen when we perform pure devotional service. Why? Because devotees don't get detached and we don't want anything in the material world. Devotees only detach to get attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, when they renounce, it's not that they renounce and they just stay like that. They renounce to use everything in the service of the owner, of the true owner, in the service of Krishna. And that is real detachment, that is real renunciation. Because what do you have that you're renouncing? By this knowledge will only come when you practice pure devotional service, which will come when you hear from those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it will not just happen like that. You have to hear. Hearing is the first process of devotional service, Shravanam, and then Kirtanam. When you hear from pure devotees, it said pure devotees, they have taken full shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they are receiving mercy from, and it said, on the lotus feet of Shri Krishna, they are saffron dust particles. And pure devotees, they have access to that. And therefore, when they speak, and we listen to them from their saliva, these particles, they spread all around in the atmosphere. And these particles, they enter our ears, they enter our eyes, and it goes into the heart. and then the Supreme Lord is revealed. And when the Supreme Lord is revealed in our heart, or we get some manifestation, some awakening of our true self is there. It's a process of killing our false ego, because then our real self begins awakening. So that's why it's being said here, we should take shelter of the lotus feet to counter these three kinds of miseries. But we cannot do it directly. We take shelter of those who have access to those lotus feet, and they bring us the saffron dust from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when it enters our ears, it goes to our hearts, then it will awaken the spirit, the manifestation of wanting to be situated in our constitutional position as servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we will get a great tendency to practice, to feel the need to practice Krishna consciousness or to practice pure devotional service. And by practicing pure devotional service, then of course it will come with characteristics, of which number one is Krishavni. That all the miseries in our life, they will get burnt to ashes. So this is the process. And how does this happen? It's said that pure devotees, when they speak, here I'm glorifying the process of Shravanam, the process of hearing from pure devotees who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet. What they speak is Sanjivani Dara. What is Sanjivani? Sanjivani is a herb that is life-giving. If you have heard the story of the Ramayana, when Lakshman had collapsed, the brother of Rodram, he had collapsed. So it was said that Hanuman should go to the Himalayas and begin and bring the Sanjivani herb. But Hanuman did not know what the Sanjivani was, so he brought the entire mountain. And from there they picked the Sanjivani, and immediately they put it in the mouth of Lakshman to gain life. So the words of pure devotees, which they are getting from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are compared to this herb called Sanjivani. Because we are dead, practically dead. We are pure devotees, but our devotion that is in our heart is covered by millions and millions of years of conditioning in this material world, that it's almost dead. But by this saffron particled covered words of the pure devotees, they are compared to Sanjivani. So the words of a pure devotee are Sanjivani Dhara. They are a life-giving current. It acts like electricity. You'll hear Prabhupada disciples say when he spoke, I heard he was describing my troubles. He knew me. I felt that he knew me. Because they don't just speak theoretically. They speak from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come and relieve us of our suffering in this material world. And when we hear from pure devotees, when we get this Sanjivani, then we will be able to get rid of the miseries that happen to us. Initially, people are very eager to get rid of problems. No one wants problems. So there's anyone who wants problems here. There are some people who say, I want problem always. You will not find such a person. But there's a clip, someone had sent me, or someone says, I don't want peace. I want problem always. They say ignorance is bliss. He's had so many problems that he thinks he only wants problems now. He's used to having this. He's comfortable in his situation. Okay, so let's go along with that. But in reality, no one wants problems. No one wants crashes. No one wants miseries. Therefore, we need to know how we can counteract this, and only when we get real knowledge, we will be able to get uh, rid of these miseries. And we read Bhagavad Gita, we get knowledge of karma, and we get knowledge of reincarnation. Then we can understand that whatever emotions we are going through, mm, whatever is happening to us mentally, whatever bodily pains we are going through, that is because of some reaction that we are experiencing, some karma, some things from our previous life. Therefore, this knowledge helps us to understand why we are going through adhyatmic miseries. These are miseries caused by our mind, our body. Understanding that I have this female body, this male body, giving me such and such troubles. It's because I have taken birth in this body. It's a result of reincarnation. And if I perform pure devotional service, then I don't have to get another body. I don't have to go through the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So this knowledge will help us, because these problems are going to continue happening while we are practicing until we come to the level of being pure devotees, we come to the level of being transcendental, then they won't matter. But as practicing devotees, this knowledge will help us counter these miseries. Adibotika klesha, miseries that are caused by other living entities, always quarreling with neighbors, mosquitoes and this and that. Then we have to understand that problems that are happening to me caused by other living entities, these living entities are only agents of my karma. I must have wronged them in my previous life or something like that. Therefore, they have been sent to come and help me get rid of this reaction. Therefore, you don't get angry at them. You understand that they are only agents, they are messengers. You don't go to the post office if you receive a letter with bad news. You don't go to the post office and get angry at the post office people. They are only messengers. They are there to deliver your letter. So in a similar case, if another living entity has wronged you, there's a misunderstanding, there's something not going right between human beings, you understand that these people or this person is only an agent of my karma. In fact, I should be very grateful to him or her that she has brought this upon me now so that I can finish this reaction. Otherwise, you are going to create more. It's going to become another cycle. So you finish that. So this understanding helps you to get rid of adibotic klesha. Adidaivik klesha, understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in control of everything. Even the demigods are in control of him. That's why sometimes it's very cold, sometimes it's very hot, sometimes there are earthquakes, sometimes there are floods. Then it helps us see how much we are not really in control. We are not Purushas, we are not enjoyers, we are not Ishwaras, we are not controllers. We can only control this much. How much we eat, that much we can control. Very little we have minute control. Someone else is in charge of many other things that we cannot control. And understanding this will relieve us from this misery of adidaivik pressures. Because I've had situations where there have been floods and people died and people get angry on God. Why did you do this to us? Why is this happening? Why are we suffering? It's because we lack knowledge. And having all this knowledge, which the source is the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which I said we cannot access directly, we need to access through his bona fide representative, the pure devotees, then we will be able to get rid of these sufferings, of these miseries, of which are there in the lives of living entities. And we understand in this material world is not meant for us to be happy, because this is not our home. We do not come from here. We are sojourners here. We are travelers. We are here to learn a lesson. If you make a mistake in the country and you're put to prison, unless you commit a felony where you're put in prison for life, but even then that prison is not your home. There's a place where you came from. So we are here as prisoners, and our time will end and we will go back home, back to Godhead. But how much determination we put into our practice of devotional service, that will determine how much more time we are going to suffer in this prison house called the material world. So this is not our home. Our home is at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is very merciful. He has sent to us many representatives who already know the proper nature of his lotus feet. And so among us who are here hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class today and who engage in discussions of Srimad Bhagavatam, we should have this understanding that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It's none different from Krishna. It says the Srimad Bhagavatam, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to the body of Krishna. Krishna Tuya Bhagavat, Vibhu Sarva Shraya, Prati Shloke Pratyakshare, Nana Arthakaya. That the Srimad Bhagavatam is just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's Vibhu, it's unlimited. It's compared to the body of Krishna, Krishna Tuya Bhagavat. The first and second cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam are compared to his lotus feet. Therefore, if anyone understands properly the first and the second cantos, he will also be taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you have a clear understanding of the first and the second cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada, he wrote these cantos before he went to the West, and he didn't even know if he was going to get there. He didn't even know if he was going to start translating and writing purports from the third canto onwards. So he put all the essence in this, especially the first canto. He put all the essence there. And many devotees have come to ISKCON after reading the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very eye-opening, this knowledge that we are talking about. So, therefore, the first and second canto are compared to the lotus feet of the Lord. The third and fourth are compared to the Lord's thighs. The fifth is compared to the Lord's stomach. The sixth compared to the Lord's chest. The seventh and the eighth compared to the Lord's arms. The ninth compared to the Lord's neck. The 10th canto is the Lord's beautiful face. And the 11th canto, the Lord's forehead. And the 12th canto, the Lord's hair. Therefore, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is a representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will get not only rid of miseries, but we will get higher than that. Getting rid of miseries is one of the byproducts of devotional service. Devotional service will give you much more than that. And the highest is love of Godhead. It's like it said, if you have $1 million, then $10 is included, $100 is included. Therefore, getting rid of miseries is a very small byproduct of the process of devotional service. Therefore, those who have a proper understanding, they don't even care for getting rid of the miseries. They understand that these miseries are a part of my purification. And that's why Brahma prays in the 10th canto, chapter 14, text 8, a very profound, important verse that every devotee should hear. He prays that Nukampam Susunekshamano Sujana Evatmakritam Vipakam Sadegva Purbil Vidadan Namaste Divesayo Mukti Sade Pade Sadaya Bhak. That one who has taken shelter of you, the Supreme Lord, Brahma is praying to Krishna, and he patiently suffers the results of his previous activities. And he does that while waiting for your mercy, having taken shelter of your lotus feet. Then for him he is fit for liberation. He is fit to come back home, back to Godhead, just like a son of a rich man just has to stay alive and wait to get inheritance from his father. So those who have a proper understanding, they don't care about getting rid of the problems that come to their life. That is usually an initial stage of people who are suffering, those who approach the Supreme Lord because they want to get rid of their distresses. And it's good to want rid of your distress, because then you have the understanding that this material world is not a good place. You want to know whether there is a place where I will not suffer. But post that, then you should understand, oh, this is a minor thing. There's something higher than this. So getting rid of miseries is important, but more important is wanting to engage in the selfless service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is pure devotional service. You don't perform service, you don't chant Hare Krishna, or you don't cook for Krishna, or serve the devotees simply because you want your own peace, or you want your own happiness. You don't want suffering, but simply because you want to serve them, to please them. But that's a stage to be calculated, step by step, step by step. It's not something to just arrive at. But with the mercy of pure devotees, whom I say that they receive saffron dust from the lotus feet, they have Sanjivani Dhara, life-giving currents to awaken us to our original constitutional position, where we will serve not because we have motives, but because we want to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can help us to come to this stage. Therefore, I'm going to end our discussion here. I see we have around 10 minutes remaining, and hand over the platform to you for any questions, comments, clarifications, or corrections. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth please. Right.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful class. It was so informative. We learned a lot. We at least know that ignorance is the main cause of suffering. We should take shelter of the lotus feet of the devotee who have been with the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that we can be able to get away from this world, which is full of miseries or is temporary. And we should learn to engage in the selfless service of pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you so much for taking your time to take us through the shloka today. And I didn't have a question, just if any other person has a question or a feedback or corrections, please be free to do so. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, if I may, can I ask a question?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So, thank you very much, Mataji, for this lovely class and very important point that you made. And it really started making me think about lots of things. When you said that we know this is not our home and that we are not supposed to be happy here, because this is a place where we are like a prisoner. We have been put here to be taught something. But a wonderful point that you made was that if anybody does something to you, it is because of your own karma, or it's a learning experience for you, something that you need to learn, and it's not their fault. Like you gave an example of the postmaster, and you cannot scold him for giving you bad news. So thank you for that point. Mataji, you also described the various limbs of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Is there any chapter dedicated to the heart of the Lord?
Hare Krishna, is there any chapter dedicated to the heart of the Lord? In the second canto, there are prayers of Shukdev Goswami. And I am not exactly sure which chapter it is, but it's there in the second canto. Beautiful prayers of Shukdev Goswami to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I think the title is Prayers to the Heart or something like that, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the 10th canto, we can say, is like the heart of the Supreme, because it describes his face. You see, when you see someone's face, then you can tell what their heart is like, what's going on, you know. If someone is highly intuitive, they can tell a happy person, a sick person, a sad person by looking at their face. It said the eyes are the window to the soul. Where is the soul situated? In the heart. Yeah, so I would advise you to look at the prayers of Shukdev Goswami, the Lord in the Heart, chapter 2. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter 2. The prayers of Shukdev Goswami are entitled The Lord in the Heart. Well, it's not really the Lord's heart, but it's the Lord in the heart. Very beautiful prayers of Rupa Goswami, of Shukdev Goswami. Yes. And like I said, the 10th canto, even if it's said to be the face of the Supreme Lord, it's also the heart of the Lord, because it's reflecting what's going on in his relationships with his intimate disciples in Dwarka, in Vrindavan, especially in Vrindavan, his intimate relationship with the Brijvasis. And these are really the Lord's heart. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. God bless you, Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful class too. Thank you for really enlightening us. Uh, the when you talk about surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord, I'm coming to the realization it's really not very an easy process. It's something that can take a lifetime, if not lifetimes, because it's an entire spiritual science on how to do devotional service, hearing, internal, all the 9 processes. Yeah, so I was just wanted to maybe kindly ask you to comment on Srila Prabhupada remark when he was asked, how long do you need to surrender to Krishna? And he said, 1 minute. He said just 1 minute. And I'm sure you cannot read the Srimad Bhagavatam in that one entire minute. Neither can you tell the 16 rounds in that 1 minute. But when he says surrender in 1 minute, does that mean it's somebody who has been already been trying to chant, maybe be reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he has completed, and now he can do it in 1 minute, or it's a new person who really just had about Krishna, and now the 1 minute he has met a new pure devotee in Spark. Maybe you can kindly comment on that. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mogokuba, for that wonderful question. Yes, Prabhupada says 1 moment. How much time does it need to surrender to Krishna? 1 moment. How long is 1 moment? Can take lifetimes, like you say, and can be just as short as a fraction of a second. Well, it depends, like you say, the process can take a lifetime. But you have to understand, we are not doers. There, the process depends on two aspects. That is our endeavor and the mercy of Krishna. So, like chanting. Yes, we chant, but there are different stages of chanting. There is chanting with offenses. There is chanting, a semblance of chanting, that is called Namabhat. And there is pure chanting, Shuddhana. It's a progression also. But to reach to Shuddhana, to chanting the pure name, because how much you need to get the mercy of Krishna? You just need one pure name. But unless you're pure, you cannot chant that pure name. Therefore, you need the mercy of a devotee to chant that pure name. I'm just giving chanting as an example. Bhagavatam, Pratik Shloke Pratyakshari. Each verse of the Bhagavatam, each text, Prati Shloke, just one shloka of the Bhagavatam, any one shloka, is enough to give you Krishna Prem. Forget one verse, any Pratyakshari, any syllable from any of the shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam is enough to give Krishna Prema in you. But because we are not pure devotees, we need all 18,000 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's too with real purity. And where does that purity come? From the mercy of the devotee. But we have to endeavor to get the mercy of the devotee. When the pure devotee sees our sincere endeavor, then they give that mercy. So it's not dependent on us. It's not dependent on how much we can do. If the pure devotee does not give his mercy, then we cannot achieve the perfection. We cannot achieve the goal of practicing devotion service. So how much time it takes, it depends on the mercy of the devotee. And of course, our own endeavor. If we don't endeavor, then we don't get the mercy. So therefore, we read and hear Bhagavatam, we chant and continue chanting, we perform other devotional services to attract the mercy of the pure devotee. And when that mercy comes, then at that moment, we will surrender. Because we are not pure, we are very much that. And it will determine with at where we are. Like I give an example. If you are cleaning a sufuria, a pot that had cooked ugali, if you are cooked ugali, then you know how much difficult it is to remove that the down part. Then it will take so much energy. You need the proper soap, you need the proper scrubber, and it will take time. But if you had just cooked some noodles or something simpler, then there is not that much mark under the sufuria. So it will be very quickly to clean that. So some people, because they have some bhakti, punya, some devotional merit from their previous life, then easily for them, they take to the process, they get things very quickly, and they quickly attract the mercy of the Supreme Lord and they live. But for some of us, because we have so much mark, like the sufuria that had cooked Sundari, when we need so much scrubbing, and then the more it will attract the mercy of the pure devotee. The more someone will want to use that sufuria to cook something else. Otherwise, it's not attractive to use it for anything else. So I hope that makes sense. So it will depend on these two, our endeavor and the mercy of the pure devotee. And the mercy of the pure devotee is dependent on how much we sincerely endeavor to get to the perfection, to get to the goal of our practice. Okay, Moho Prabhu.
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So for some people it will take a short time. For some people it will take a long time.
Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions? There are no more questions. May I request Chandni Mataji to end the session for us. Hare Krishna Mataji. Are you able to end the session? Okay. Catherine Mataji, are you able to end the session for us?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rasa Sundari Mataji, for such a beautiful class today. We learned so many things. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Please, everybody, unmute and let's chant Hare Krishna in glorification of Rasa Sundari Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Rasa Sundari Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for ending the session. Hare Krishna.